This chart shows the baseline for a successful pirate. Blackbeard commanded roughly 4 ships and 300 men at his peak. But by 1807, a woman named Ching Shih took command of the Red Flag Fleet, an armada of 1,500 ships and a staggering 80,000 pirates. This wasn't just a large gang, it was a naval force that eclipsed the sovereign militaries of most 19th century nations. Brutality alone didn't account for a force of this magnitude. To command 80,000 pirates, Ching Shih moved beyond simple violence, building her empire on the strategic application of leverage. Her rise to supreme command began in 1807, following the sudden, mysterious death of the pirate lord Zheng Yi. His death left Ching Shih in a precarious position. She was a newly minted widow sitting on a massive mountain of communal treasure, with no official claim to her husband's throne. In the outlaw world, that combination made her a target. Rival captains and Zheng Yi's own relatives were already plotting mutiny to seize the fleet's wealth for themselves. Instead of fleeing the inevitable coup, Ching Shih stepped in front of thousands of bloodthirsty outlaws and demanded absolute control. How did a marginalized widow with a target on her back successfully prevent a mutiny and force an 80,000-strong mob to bow to her will? In 1801, the South China Sea was a chaotic free-for-all, with rival gangs constantly raiding the coast. At the time, Ching Shih was working in a floating Canton brothel. When Zheng Yi met her, he recognized a sharp, calculating business mind that matched his own. He proposed marriage, intending for them to build a maritime empire together. Ching Shih immediately established her first piece of relational leverage. She agreed to the marriage only on the condition that she receive a 50% share of his fleet and equal status as a co-commander. Years later, following Zheng Yi's death in 1807, she secured her position by winning over Cheng Pao, the fleet's most dangerous commander. By marrying him and making him her second in command, she neutralized the threat of internal revolt. To keep the rest of the mob in line, she implemented a brutally strict legal code. Theft from the communal treasury resulted in immediate beheading. Deserting your post meant having your ears sliced off with a sword. Combining strategic interpersonal alliances with this zero-tolerance legal code turned a chaotic criminal gang into a rigidly disciplined fighting machine. The fleet functioned as a shadow government. Ching Shih controlled the regional salt trade, established tax offices in coastal towns, and extorted every merchant ship passing through her waters. In 1808, the Qing Emperor in Beijing dispatched the Chinese Imperial Navy to crush the Red Flag Fleet. This diagram shows how she responded. Instead of a head-on battle, she used her fleet's peculiar maneuverability to completely surround the imperial ships. The defeat was so total that the Chinese admiral committed suicide on his own deck. By 1809, the Chinese government hired the British and Portuguese navies to help. They then attempted to trap her entire armada by floating massive explosive fire ships directly toward her fleet. But Ching Shih didn't panic at all. She ordered her men into small rowboats to manually intercept the burning vessels and redirect them back toward the Allied ships. Her success against these empires relied on asymmetrical leverage. She found ways to weaponize the overwhelming size and heavy artillery of global superpowers against themselves. By 1810, the Chinese coastal economy was ruined, and their international allies had failed. The state had exhausted its military options. Desperate, the emperor offered a total pardon and full amnesty if the Red Flag Fleet simply agreed to retire. In her final display of dominance, Ching Shih left her fleet behind and walked completely unarmed into the governor's office in Canton. She dictated her own terms at the table. She would keep all her stolen wealth, her pirates would receive prestigious military ranks, and the government would officially recognize her marriage. Because she had bankrupted the state's alternatives, the governor had no choice but to concede to every demand. Ching Shih walked away from the pirate life as a wealthy aristocrat. She ran a successful gambling house in Canton and lived a peaceful life until she passed away at the age of 69. She dismantled the systems designed to constrain her, proving that untouchable power belongs to the person who best understands the absolute anatomy of leverage.